What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to Mail Guy Game. Here I talk about top plays, top sports news, and breakdowns of the previous week. So, if that interests you, please like and subscribe. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into my predictions from last week. So let's see how I did on these predictions for last week. We had a lot of good games, and we had a lot of one-sided games as well, but it is the first round of the playoffs, so that is to be expected because a lot of teams are playing teams that are way better than them and have higher seeds than them. So we're just gonna see how we did for last week. So since it is the playoffs and there are less games to predict, there were only 6 games to predict last week, I'm gonna go ahead and lower my target score to 25 points. The old target score was 50 points, and I imagine it's gonna be pretty hard to get to 50 points with only 6 games to predict. So the rules are still the same: 5 points for every game I predict correctly, 1 point for every score I predict correctly, and if I predict both teams' points, then I get 3 extra points, giving me 8 points for that game. So let's go ahead and see how I did. For our first game, we got the Raiders at the Bengals. So many people were underestimating the Bengals, and I'm telling y'all, the Bengals are for real now. The Bengals are them boys now. I told y'all the Bengals will win 30-23. They actually won 26-19, so I get 5 points for that one. Stop doubting them Bayou boys, I'm telling you. For our next game, we got the Patriots at the Bills. I said the Bills will win 27-21. Bills came in and handled business, 47-17. I get 5 points for that one. That was one of them lopsided games I was talking about. It seems like the Bills have really had the Patriots number in the last 2 games they played them. For our next game, we got the Eagles at the Buccaneers. I said the Buccaneers will win 28-17. The Buccaneers are moving on with a 31-15 win over the Eagles. I thought it could have been a better game than it was, but the Eagles just couldn't handle Tom Brady, and they couldn't get anything going on their offense. For our next game, we have the 49ers at the Cowboys. I said the 49ers would win 26-21. 49ers did come in and upset 23-17. It was a really good game. 49ers pretty much dominated the entire game until about the 4th quarter when the Cowboys started to rally and come back. It actually came down to a controversial play call by the Cowboys. It was a quarterback draw by Dak Prescott with about 14 seconds left on the clock. The play actually restricted the Cowboys from running another play and giving them a shot at the end zone to actually win the game, which thus gave the 49ers the win, having them move on to the divisional round. For our next game, we have the Steelers at the Chiefs. I said the Chiefs would win 31-21, and as many predicted, the Chiefs came in and handled business. They dominated 42-21, so I get 6 points for that one because I predicted that the Chiefs would win, and I predicted that the Pittsburgh Steelers would put up 21 points. For our last game, we have the Cardinals at the Rams. I said the Cardinals would win 32-24, and the Rams actually came in and dominated 34-11. I at least thought it was going to be a better game than it did, but the Cardinals literally just couldn't get anything going, and they could not stop that Rams offense. So I get 0 points for that one. For our total, can we get a drum roll, please? We got 26 points. Y'all like my little Nick Cannon impersonation? We got 26 points. I went over my quota by 1 point, so just barely. I would have went perfect if it wasn't for the Cardinals and Rams game. But hey, can't win them all, so I'll take what I can get. So now that the predictions are out the way, let's go ahead and get into the top sports news stories of the week. So Odell is actually getting drug tested after his playoff game versus the Cardinals. He shared this story on his Instagram page with a message from someone, I guess, that works with the NFL, saying that they were going to drug test him for performance-enhancing substances. Odell Beckham finished the game with 4 receptions for 54 yards and 1 touchdown, and he has 6 touchdowns in 9 games since joining the Rams. So I guess the NFL was like, something ain't right. Something ain't right with Odell. Let's see exactly what Odell been up to. But hey, man, I swear they always trying to bring down Odell. They always trying to make it seem like Odell isn't who he is. So, I think this is just the beginning of Odell getting recognized again. And I think it's only going to go up from here. Let's talk about this 49ers and Cowboys game for a minute. It was a pretty good game. 49ers did have the edge for most of the game as they got up to a 13-0 lead with about 6 minutes left in the second quarter. Cowboys then scored a touchdown with about 5 minutes left in the second to make it 13-7. Niners would then put up 10 more unanswered points throughout the course of the game, making it 23-7. And the Cowboys wouldn't score again until they kicked a field goal with about 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter, making it 23-10. The 49ers got the ball back. Garoppolo threw a pick around midfield, giving the Cowboys excellent field position, which they then flipped into a touchdown. which made it 23-17. The Niners really didn't get the ball back. They had to give the ball right back to the Cowboys. Cowboys got around the 20-yard line with no timeouts left, forcing them to drive the field and be cautious of the clock. They actually were putting a really good drive together, which forced the 49ers to make changes to their defense as they needed to protect the sidelines, or they were going to give Dallas just a free run to the end zone, basically, which then kind of forced Dallas to call a controversial play, which a lot of people were not fans of. And I'm still kind of iffy on it because I kind of understood what Mike McCarthy was trying to accomplish. But the play was actually a quarterback draw with Dak Prescott. With about 14 seconds left on the clock, Dak Prescott got about maybe 20 yards, I think. And then he slid, he goes down, and then he tries to get up, hand the ball to the center so the center can snap it and he can spike it. But what the rule is for the NFL is that you have to give the ball to the official so the official can spot it, and then you can go ahead and snap the play. So that was the rule. Dak Prescott didn't really understand the rules, and he gave the ball right to the center, and then the official had to come in and actually snatch the ball from the center, and then he could snap it. But when that happened, there was no more time on the clock, which ended the game. So let's go ahead and break down the in-game situation and the play call by the Cowboys. I want to start out by saying I understand what the Cowboys were trying to do. The Cowboys and Mike McCarthy were trying to do in this situation. Hail Marys are very rare to complete. Good teams usually complete Hail Marys once every 3 years. And half the time, they're not even in the Hail Mary situations. I feel like most teams usually do laterals before they'll do a Hail Mary. But there was that 1 year, I think, where Green Bay completed like 2 of them in 1 year. But usually, Hail Marys are very rare to complete, just like onside kicks. So at the end of the day, I do understand what Mike McCarthy was trying to accomplish. However, it's a very, very sensitive situation. So that if you're trying to run a play or run another play where it's going to be risky trying to get the spike and trying to stop the clock, you're going to need to understand the rules, understand the situation, just understand everything that comes down to how we're going to get another play going. Dak Prescott, number one, Dak Prescott didn't understand the rules. I feel like first, I feel like Dak Prescott ran a little bit too much. In this situation, I think you need to run at least maybe 10, 12, 15 yards, depending on how much time you have on the clock. They had about 14 seconds left on the clock. Run about 10 yards, 10, 15 yards. Give yourself a chance for another play, at least with about 7 seconds left on the clock. Because he just kept going. He was just trying to get as many yards as he could. And I don't think that's the right play, or that's the right thing to do in this situation. You need to figure out how you're going to get as many yards as you can while keeping enough time on the clock to run another play. That's one thing. Dak Prescott also should have known the rules. If he would have tossed it to the official first and not having the little scuffle with the center and the official, I feel like they probably would have ended up being able to get another play, probably with 2 or 1 second left on the clock, because it was so close. It was so close that if he had just tossed it to the referee, they might have gotten another play. But I don't know that. I really don't know about that one. But the second thing is, in this situation, if I'm a coach and I want to call a play to give my team a chance to get in the end zone, I would have called a play. I would have called a halfback screen to Ezekiel Elliott. What I would have done is I would have had all of the receivers go deep, all on go routes, because the 49ers were in sort of like a sideline protection type coverage where they were trying to protect the sidelines and force the Cowboys to get tackled in bounds, force the Cowboys to run some more clock so that the game could be over. What this would have done is, if all of the receivers ran go routes, this would have then seen, the 49ers would have seen that, okay, it looks like a Hail Mary type of play. They would have went deep. All of the people on the sidelines, they would have went deep. So then when you're setting up the halfback screen, you got about 3 defensive linemen down. All of the defensive linemen are going to rush at you. The offensive linemen are going to go out to protect Zeke. Throw the ball over to Zeke. Now you have Zeke and about 5 offensive linemen running, protecting them. So then, at this point, just figure out how many yards you can get. Just try to get as many yards as you can. Zeke has to do at this point: stay behind the offensive lineman, make sure he doesn't get tackled, and then once
the clock gets about to 5-4 seconds, run out of bounds. Just get as many yards as you can and make sure you have enough time to get another playoff. So that's what I would have done in this situation. So yeah, guys, I think we're just giving Mike McCarthy a little bit too much hate at this point. All he was trying to do was give his team a chance to get into a manageable type situation where he could have called a deep pass concept or maybe a medium pass concept where one of his receivers could have caught the ball and kind of use their speed to kind of get into the end zone, something along those lines. So I think we're just giving him a little bit too much hate, and we all know that if the Dallas Cowboys would have ended up winning that game and that play would have worked, we all would have been talking about that was such a great play call by Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy's such a genius coach, blah, blah, blah. We all know that would have been the talk. So at this point, it's just settle down, give Mike McCarthy just a breather, just a rest after this playoff loss.
There is speculation that head coach Mike McCarthy of the Dallas Cowboys will be fired soon, but it's just speculation, so we'll have to keep an eye on it to see if he retains his job as the head coach for the 2022 season. So after the game, Dallas Cowboys fans were actually throwing trash towards the referees as they headed into the tunnel. Dak Prescott actually had something to say about that. Let's see what he said.
For people to react that way when you're supposed to be a supporter and be with us through thick and thin, that's tough.
I think they were aiming at the referees.
Yeah, they were at the referees.
Credit to them then.
That's not taking.
Yeah.
They weren't doing it.
Oh, well, credit to them.
So Dak was a fan of trash getting thrown at referees. It is unclear whether he was upset at the final call that ended the game or if he was upset at officiating during the entire game. But all we know is that he was very expressive during his press conference and showed which side he was on. The NBA Twitter account released a statement regarding the situation, which reads, "The NBRA condemns the comments by Dak Prescott condoning violence against game officials. As an NFL leader, he should know better. We encourage the NFL to take action to discourage this deplorable behavior in the future." Prescott actually took to Twitter to release a series of tweets to issue an apology to the NFL refs. They read, "I deeply regret the comments I made regarding the officials after the game on Sunday. I was caught up in the emotion of a disappointing loss, and my words were uncalled for and unfair. I hold the officials in the highest regard, and I've always respected the professionalism and the difficulty of their jobs. The safety of everyone who attends a game or participates on the field of a sporting event is a very serious matter. That was a mistake on my behalf, and I am sorry." So now that it seems that Dak Prescott has calmed down from Sunday's loss, let's go ahead and check in on some other Cowboys fans and see how they're doing.
First down! Let's go! Look out here! Oh! Get out your motherfucker! Oh! No! Fuck me up every time! Oh! I'm sick of y'all!
Somebody need to check on that Cowboys fan and make sure he is okay. Make sure that man is okay. Don't worry, Cowboys fans. Next year, y'all here for sure. Keep telling yourselves that. Speaking of the Cowboys, former Cowboys quarterback and Hall of Famer Troy Aikman, now broadcaster, was not very pleased on which game he was calling this past weekend.
Broadcast booth, Joe and Troy, and that game coming up, which is on CBS, which is the Dallas Cowboys hosting the San Francisco 49ers. We saw San Francisco with that overtime win in LA last weekend. That's going to be a good game.
It's going to be a great game. A really good game. I think there's a lot of people that like to be calling that game. But should be a lot of fun. And I think San Francisco is one of those teams that's just really tough.
Did somebody tell Troy that we don't always get what we want? I mean, granted, the Eagles and Buccaneers game was very boring, but somebody had to call it. And unfortunately for Troy, it had to be him. Let's talk about this Raiders at Bengals game for a minute. Raiders actually struck first with a field goal, making it 3-0. Bengals then scored with Joe Burrow to CJ Uzomah, making it 7-3. Derek Carr then fumbled, which was recovered by the Bengals, which they flipped into a field goal, making it 10-3. Raiders then gave the ball back again to the Bengals to make another field goal, which was 13-3. Then the Raiders go down and score a field goal, making it 13-6. They inched a little closer. Then the Bengals would go down and score on a controversial call where the whistle was blown while the ball was still in the air. This is very controversial because the rule in the NFL is that when the whistle is blown at any point during the play, anything that happens after the play didn't happen, basically. Nothing counted after the play. So when they upheld that touchdown, that made it 20-6. and that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, especially Raiders fans. But honestly, I feel like it wasn't that big of a deal that they upheld it. Honestly, yes, it is still the rule, but a lot of people were saying that when they blew the whistle, a lot of the Raiders players stopped, and that is kind of true, but I feel like they would have scored anyway because the receiver pretty much was wide open and Joe Burrow was able to find him before the whistle blew. So when the ball is still in the air, I feel like as a DB, regardless if the whistle blows or not, you're going to try to get the ball out of the receiver's hands or try to intercept it or just make a play on the ball. And I don't think the Raiders players would have been able to make a play on the ball regardless because they were so far away from the receiver. So that made it 20-6. The Raiders would then get the ball back and get the ball before half into the end zone, making it 20-13 before halftime. After this, both teams ended up going back and forth with field goals, which then made the score 26-19. The Raiders would then need to put a game-time drive together, but it was stalled in the red zone by the Bengals as Derek Carr threw an interception to Jermaine Pratt, helping the Bengals win their first playoff game since 1991. Congrats to the Bengals. You guys earned it. You guys worked and grinded for it, and they're going to see the Tennessee Titans in the divisional round of the playoffs. So who were our wild card players of the week? There were so many good candidates, but we can only choose two, an offensive and defensive. For our offensive wild card player of the week, we got Josh Allen of the Bills, completing 84% of his passes, 308 passing yards, and 5 passing touchdowns. 157.6 passer rating. Also tallied 6 carries for 66 yards on the ground, averaging 11 points a carry. I thought Josh Allen was the running back out there, at least for the first half. Patriots was not containing Josh Allen on the run. He didn't see nobody open. Took that thing, man. He was going. So yeah, Josh Allen, congrats to the Bills for moving on. For our defensive wildcard player of the week, we got Mike Edwards, safety for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, totaling 9 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, and 1 pass deflection. Also got an interception, just flew around on defense all game long and making sure to contain all aspects of that Eagles offense.
Now, I ain't gonna lie, this play definitely snuck into top 3 solely because of the celebration. Like, the play was cool and everything. It was a great ball by Patrick Mahomes, great route by Tyreek Hill. He turned on them burners, but the celebration was top 3 this year. Look at this. Tyreek Hill goes over and gets pom-poms and dances with the cheerleaders, bro. That is the ultimate celebration. For play number 2, we have Odell Beckham, not as a receiver, but as a quarterback. He slings it to Cam Akers for about 30 yards. And I did not know Odell could sling that thing like that for real. Don't tell me Odell finna get a job as a quarterback next year. At number 1, I swear Mac Jones threw a perfect ball and Nelson Aguilar came down with his ball, bro. I swear. Micah Hyde intercepted that. Like, that's crazy, bro. This play is playing tricks on me right now. Micah Hyde, like, what? Over the shoulder, dive and catch?
Let's go ahead and get into these divisional round playoff matchups. Divisional round weekend is going to be a good one. It's only 4 games this week, but it's going to be a good 4 games. I'm telling you. I'm really telling you. It's going to be a good 4 games. For our first matchup, we have the Bengals at the Titans. Bengals are just coming off a win over the Raiders, 26-19. They're a young team, but they're a really, really good young team. So we're going to see how well they can come in and play against the top-seeded Titans. The Titans, they're just coming off a bye because they got the first seed. So we're going to see if rest has proved well for them. They've adapted to not having Derrick Henry in the regular season, and they've done pretty well with that. So we're going to see how well they can do in the playoffs. For our next game, we have the Niners at the Packers. The 6-seeded Niners are just coming in off an upset against the Dallas Cowboys. They've got a lot of momentum right now, and they're coming into Green Bay looking for a win. The Packers are coming in off a bye, and I'm telling you right now, you don't want to give Aaron Rodgers any rest at all. He will torch you. So this is going to be a good game. We're going to see who's going to be able to come out on top Saturday at 8:15 p.m. For our next game, we have the Rams at the Buccaneers Sunday at 3 o'clock p.m. The Rams are just coming in off a dominating win over the Cardinals, 34-11. And the Buccaneers are coming in off a dominating win over the Eagles, 31-15. So we're going to see which team can prove that they're the best. Both of these teams have great high-powered offenses. So we're going to see, I think it's going to come down to which offense proves they're the best. For our last game, we got the Bills at the Chiefs. Bills are coming in off a dominating win over the Patriots, and the Chiefs are coming in off a dominating win over the Steelers. Both of these teams have great offenses. We're going to see which defense can come out on top and see which defense can make that crucial stop that can give their team the momentum. This game is Sunday at 6:30, and this is my game of the week. Let's go ahead and get into these predictions for this divisional round weekend. I was pretty good last week, so I'm hoping to keep that streak up. We'll see if I can do it. For our first game, we got the Raiders at the Bengals. Tennessee is favored by 3.5 points. I think the Bengals win this one 24-21. I don't know. I don't know. I'm thinking though. Niners at the Packers. Green Bay is favored by 6 points. I think Green Bay go ahead and pull it out 30-21. Like I said, you don't want to give Aaron Rodgers rest. Aaron Rodgers is already really good back-to-back. And giving him rest is just gonna awaken the beast a little bit more. And he's tired of y'all saying that he be choking in the playoffs. So Aaron Rodgers is coming to play. We have Rams at the Buccaneers. Tampa Bay is favored by 3 points. I think Buccaneers win 33-28. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Both of these teams have really good offenses. I think the Buccaneers go ahead and pull it out, though. I learned to never bet against Tom Brady, so that's what I'm doing. I'm never betting against Tom Brady. The Bills at the Chiefs. We have Kansas City being favored by 2 points. This is a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game. And I think the Bills win this one 30-26. Something is telling me that the Bills are going to pull this one out. Both of these teams have high-power offenses, but the Bills have been emerging as a top contender out of the AFC for the past couple years. And I think this year they're poised to make a deep playoff run. So yeah, guys, that's all the time I have for today. If you like this video, please click like. If you're not subscribed yet and you like my content, please go ahead and subscribe. I upload weekly content for you guys to enjoy. And with that being said, I'll see you next week on Mel Got Game.